Hello, survival horror fans. Resident Evil 8 is just around the corner, so today I want to discuss the events leading up to it, namely Resident Evil 7. It's been a crazy last few years for Resident Evil fans, with the game switching from surviving zombies to shoulder-tackling boulders. And with the release of Resident Evil 7, the game switched back into its horror roots. Even more so, to be honest. Now, with a terrifying first-person perspective, RE7 follows the new antagonist, Ethan Winters, as he travels to the swamps of Louisiana and fights his way through the Baker house in search for his wife, Mia, who has been missing for like 3 years. But what's this got to do with Village? Well, let's find out.
Family, son.
Going into this, I kind of noticed that it sounds kind of like one of my console classics videos, so I guess it could double as that. I mean, I guess I won't have to do a episode for Resident Evil 7 after this. Anyway, so no, you don't play as Leon S. Kennedy, not as Chris Redfield, but as Ethan Winters. Just some random guy. He gets a mysterious message that tells him his wife, Mia, is alive after missing for 3 years. She went away for work and didn't really give Ethan much to go on at the time. Now, he finds out she's in Louisiana. Ah yes, Louisiana. Mosquitoes, trench foot, gators, and hillbillies. The perfect setting for a Resident Evil game, right? Well, I'm sure diehard fans of Resident Evil were really skeptical going into this one. But don't worry, it definitely delivers. Anyway, so as Ethan, you stumble into a derelict house in the middle of the swamp and find it abandoned. Yeah, it's pretty gross. There's like moldy food and shit laying around. After watching some various VHS tapes laying around the house, you discover that you may not be alone there after all. You then run into Mia, but something isn't right.
Now, let's see how you feel. Inside jaw must contain outbreak.
She never used to get possessed and cut your hand off, so that's a new thing. So, yeah, basically, early on you find her, but she acts all crazy and shit and attacks you, and you pretty much have to kill her. Just like any other RE game, there are many puzzles and keys throughout the house. You know the routine. This key unlocks this room, which leads to the basement, where you find a piece of an item that you have to combine with another item to get a new key, which unlocks another door, and yeah, you get it. So as it turns out, Mia is still alive, and still wants you dead. Great. It's around here where you're introduced to Jack, and you learn that the house is actually owned by the Bakers, who are basically just a knockoff Texas Chainsaw Massacre family. Just as you escape an awkward dinner with the family, a cop arrives to save you. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding. He immediately gets a shovel through his head, and then you engage in the first boss fight. Basically, you just keep ramming Jack with a car, GTA style, until you don't have to anymore. From there, you enter the main hall of the house, which looks a lot like a redneck version of the Spencer Mansion. This series in mansions, I swear. You start to encounter all this black mold everywhere, and it starts to form into these horrifying human-esque things called molded that just kind of flop around everywhere. And they're sort of easy to kill, but literally they're everywhere. As you navigate around this area of the house, you meet Granny, who just stares a hole through you while sitting in her chair. And don't worry, if you start to miss her, she'll just appear around every corner and every room. Literally. You see this little girl, who apparently must be the baker's young daughter. And through some drawings and other means found around the house, you learn that might not be the case. So there's like this room in the house with just a bed in the middle of it, and yeah, they may have been holding her captive or something. Who knows? After the second Jack fight, where you just chainsaw him to death, you escape the house and end up in a trailer out back, where you're introduced to Zoe, the baker's daughter, and the only seemingly sane person so far. She informs you that they're all infected with something, and she can make the cure, so you align with her to gather the ingredients. There's a greenhouse out back you have to go through, where you encounter Marguerite again, the mama. Oh look, another boss fight. Hooray! This time, she's a big old crawly thing, and she pretty much just follows you around and poops out bugs everywhere. It's pretty cool. And it's not that hard of a fight. You kill her, yada yada, gain access to the ingredients that you need for the cure. Afterward, you arrange to meet up with Zoe, and then shit hits the fan thanks to Lucas Baker, the son. He makes you go into this sketchy rave house and do a Saw-style birthday party that is ultimately supposed to blow you up, I guess, but it doesn't. You learn that Lucas apparently is the only one not infected, and that he's been tasked by whoever to gather intel on E. What is E? I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. Sometime later, you arrive at a boathouse where both Mia and Zoe are tied up. Yeah, Mia's normal. For now. Zoe makes the cure, but there's only enough for 2 people. Alright, cool. 1 for Zoe, 1 for Mia. And then we all just get the hell out of here, right? Nope, it's never that easy. Jack fight. This time he's like a Birkin-esque looking creature covered in tumors. So, yeah, traditionally, you just shoot all the tumors and then boom, he's dead. Or not. He springs back to life and then Zoe urges you to inject him with the cure to kill him. Oh great, now there's only 1 cure. Which brings us to the most awkward part of this game. You have to either cure Mia or cure Zoe. And whichever one you choose changes the outcome of the game. So choose wisely. Obviously, you're gonna pick Mia. And Zoe gets all butthurt. Yeah, of course I'm gonna cure Mia. It's kind of the whole point of Ethan going to Louisiana in the first place. I mean, you can definitely cure Zoe, but yeah, don't do it. Now you attempt to leave on a raft and come across a wrecked tanker sitting in the middle of the swamp. What the hell? Mia tells you that the little girl, Eveline, is not the baker's daughter after all, but a girl that Jack found in the swamp along with Mia 3 years ago. Alright, I'll elaborate on that later. Don't worry. So they get attacked and Ethan gets taken away by the mold, where you play as Mia. Upon exploring the ship, you encounter Eveline again and again, until you finally realize she's not even really there. So here's what happened. Let's back up a little bit. Mia's job that she left for all those years ago was working for an organization where she basically babysat bioorganic weapons. This certain occasion was to keep watch of E, a.k.a. Eveline, who has the ability to force her way into people's minds and make them do as she pleases. Just like telekinesis or telepathy or whatever, and apparently she pukes like mold everywhere. Yeah. So anyway, in transit, of course, she gets out and everybody aboard the ship turns into molded, causing it to crash into the swamp, where Jack just randomly finds it on an evening stroll and then takes Mia and Eveline back to the house, not knowing the situation. From there, Eveline completely takes over the Baker house and corrupts the family. And then, yep, there's the start of the game for you. Alright, so, Mia finds Ethan and then you regain control of him. After a brief apologetic meeting with Jack, telling you that pretty much the family's just at her mercy, you return to the house for the final battle. And it's here that you realize creepy old Granny has been Eveline the whole time. Yep, the virus actually causes her to rapidly age. So, she went from like being like a little girl to like an old ass woman in like 3 years. Cool. And she turns into like this crazy Hydra looking thing with like a long ass neck. And then just when you're about to die, Jesu swoops in and shoulder tackles the hell out of her. Chris Redfield. Well, I'm just kidding. But he does actually show up and give you Wesker's gun to kill her with. Because apparently it just like one-shots BOWs. So you escape the house with Mia and Chris and fly off into the sunset. Alright, cool. But where does this lead into Village? Well, we know that you play as Ethan again, and this time, you're kidnapped by Chris and taken to a mysterious village after he just shows up out of the blue and kills Mia. Yeah, that's what I said. Bitches getting murked. Apparently Chris is at the mercy of a cult because they have Claire hostage, so he's ordered to kill Mia because she's actually tied to like this witch coven and used to be a witch or something and has a whole secret life that Ethan never knew about. Anyway, so Chris Redfield is kind of the antagonist in this one, as you try to uncover the truth behind his actions. All the while, you're dealing with this giant, like, vampire bitch and werewolves. And that's all I really know. So, of course, we'll know more after Resident Evil Village drops next month. And yeah, that was it. Goodbye.